Climate change and its impact on global ecosystems. Climate change stands as one of the most critical challenges of the 21st century, with widespread and profound effects on ecosystems worldwide. Rising global temperatures, shifting precipitation patterns, and more frequent extreme weather events are reshaping habitats, altering species distributions, and threatening biodiversity. Understanding these impacts is essential for developing effective mitigation and adaptation strategies to preserve ecological balance and sustain life on Earth. Key drivers of climate change. Human activities are the primary drivers of climate change, contributing to the increased concentration of greenhouse gases, GHGs, in the atmosphere. Major contributors include 1. Burning fossil fuels. The combustion of coal, oil, and natural gas releases significant amounts of carbon dioxide, CO2, into the atmosphere. 2. Deforestation. Large-scale deforestation reduces the number of trees that absorb CO2, further increasing atmospheric carbon levels. 3. Industrial emissions. Factories and industrial processes emit various GHGs, including methane, CH4, and nitrous oxide, N2O. 4. Agriculture. Livestock farming produces methane, while certain fertilizers release nitrous oxide, contributing to the greenhouse effect. Impacts on global ecosystems. 1. Rising temperatures and habitat loss. Higher temperatures are disrupting ecosystems by altering habitats and forcing species to migrate to cooler regions. Polar ecosystems are particularly vulnerable as Arctic ice melts, threatening species like polar bears and seals that depend on ice-covered habitats. In mountainous regions, warmer conditions are pushing species to higher elevations, limiting their available habitat. 2. Ocean warming and acidification. Oceans have absorbed much of the excess heat from climate change, leading to warming waters that affect marine ecosystems. Coral bleaching, fish population declines, and disruptions in marine biodiversity are widespread. Additionally, increased CO2 absorption is causing ocean acidification, which harms organisms with calcium carbonate shells, such as corals, mollusks, and certain plankton species. 3. Changes in precipitation patterns. Climate change is altering rainfall patterns, resulting in prolonged droughts in some regions and severe flooding in others. Freshwater ecosystems, wetlands, and forests face significant threats. Drought conditions can dry up rivers and lakes, while excessive rainfall can cause soil erosion and habitat degradation. 4. Loss of biodiversity. As habitats shrink or change, many species face extinction. Climate change exacerbates existing threats to biodiversity by disrupting food chains, reproductive cycles, and migration patterns. Iconic species such as tigers, elephants, and amphibians are at heightened risk due to their reliance on stable ecosystems. Impacts on specific ecosystems. Forests. 1. Increased wildfires due to drier conditions and higher temperatures. 2. Shifts in tree species distribution, with temperate species moving to higher altitudes. 3. Decline in forest-dependent wildlife due to habitat fragmentation. Oceans and coral reefs. 1. Frequent coral bleaching events triggered by warming waters. 2. Disruption of marine food chains, affecting fish stocks and coastal livelihoods. 3. Increased vulnerability to invasive species in warming waters. Wetlands. 1. Reduced water availability in some regions, leading to wetland drying. 2. Saltwater intrusion into freshwater ecosystems due to rising sea levels. 3. Loss of critical habitats for migratory birds and aquatic species. Arctic and polar regions. 1. Rapid ice melt, impacting polar bear hunting grounds and seal populations. 2. Thawing permafrost, releasing methane and further accelerating global warming. 3. Disruption of indigenous communities dependent on Arctic ecosystems. Human impacts and socio-economic consequences. The degradation of ecosystems has far-reaching effects on human societies, including 1. Food security, changes in crop yields, fish stocks, and livestock productivity threaten global food availability, especially in vulnerable regions. 2. Water scarcity, shifts in precipitation patterns and melting glaciers reduce access to fresh water. 3. Health risks, increased heat waves, the spread of vector-borne diseases, and air pollution pose serious health threats. 4. Economic losses, damage to infrastructure, losses in biodiversity-dependent industries, and disaster recovery costs strain economies. Mitigation and adaptation strategies. Mitigation. 1. Transitioning to renewable energy sources, such as solar, wind, and hydroelectric power. 2. Reforestation and afforestation to absorb atmospheric CO2. 3. Reducing emissions through sustainable agricultural practices and cleaner industrial processes. Adaptation. 1. Protecting and restoring critical ecosystems, including wetlands and coral reefs. 2. Implementing water management systems to address droughts and floods. 3. Developing climate-resilient crops and livestock to secure food supplies. Global collaboration and policy initiatives addressing climate change requires coordinated global efforts. Key initiatives include 1. The Paris Agreement, a legally binding treaty aimed at limiting global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius. 2. United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, promoting climate action, biodiversity protection, and sustainable resource management. 3. Global reforestation programs, collaborative efforts to restore degraded forests and combat deforestation. Conclusion, a call to action. Climate change poses an existential threat to global ecosystems, with significant consequences for biodiversity, human well-being, and economic stability. Effective mitigation and adaptation measures are crucial to minimizing future impacts. By acting now through collaborative global efforts, we can protect ecosystems and ensure a sustainable future for generations to come.